We've got minimal equipment out again today, and as you can see by the title, Kettlebell Couplets for Cardio. Let's call it question mark, because the whole idea of this is that we're going to move through these with a fair bit of pace, but you're going to pick weights that are a little bit on the heavier side. So what you will see is as you're moving through them, you should see, particularly in the first one, you should slowly see your heart rate escalate. Okay, so again, if anything here, I prefer you to go heavier and slow down and work on your form if you can't do some of these movements with a bit of pace. Outside of that there, drop the weight if you've got your technique right, and therefore maybe pick up a little bit of pace, but obviously with lighter weight. So I've got a pair of 20 sitting here, and I've got a 24 that I'm using for one of the other movements, but for demonstration purposes we're going to use the 20s. And the other thing we're going to need here is just simply a pair of parallel bars. You may also want to use a bench or a plyometric box that you can do some dips on. So the first one, I'm just going to demonstrate what the movements are, then we'll go through the breakdown. The first couplet is a kettlebell swing into a loaded carry. So again, I'm going to come up, I'm going to grab my kettlebell, and I'm going to get nice and aggressive swings. When I finish my swing, I'm going to come up, I'm going to pick the kettlebells up into here, shoulders back, and I'm going to take off on my loaded carries. So that is the first couplet that we're going to do. Okay, couplet number 2. Okay, kettlebell, single one, and it is simply a push jerk, or if you can, it's a strict press. So I'm going to take the kettlebell in, I'm going to go with my set number of reps. 1, 2. So if you can strict press them, or what is strict press them? If you need to, as you fatigue, dip, and use a bit of oomph, use a bit of oomph. You're going to go right arm, right arm, and so forth. And we're pairing these with dips. Okay. So what I found is after the first round, I could get all the way down. As I got towards the end, I was struggling. So what I ended up doing was I came under my tippy toes like a ballerina, so that there is a little bit of support, but not full support. I really can't use them that much, and therefore, so I'm really focusing on keeping this forearm parallel and coming over. That's what I'm doing to help build up some tricep muscular endurance and strength. So they are the two. An overhead strict press or a push jerk into this, and then the final one, which you don't really need any demonstration for, laying down flutter kicks. So 1, 2, and then up into fast air squats. Full range of motion, ass down so that my thighs or my quads are parallel. Okay, and back up and down and back up. So again, all these are done with pace. So back to couplet number 1. Kettlebell swings. Start at 12, go to 16, 20, 24. Then we go back down. 20, 16, 12. Okay? So we're going to build up and down the pyramid with the swing. The loaded carry, simply outside, I've mapped a distance of around, say, 10 meters. I'm going up and back 4 times, so I'm getting 40 meters of my loaded carry. So, and I'm doing them relatively quick with shoulders back. What I did do in between is I would change the loaded carry to be here into double rack, or I'd have one down, one up, just to simply mix it up, right? It also forced me to slow down a little tiny bit, particularly when I come into the 20s, the 24s, and the 20s, okay? But again, you go at your pace. If you just want to do suitcase carries and just go for it, then that's good. But don't walk so fast that the bells are swinging. We're trying to hold them straight. We're walking at a pace, but the bells are staying by our side. They might waver, but they are not swinging. We're not after that. I want my shoulders back. Second movement, these guys here. The overhead press simply started at 6. 6 right, 6 left. Then we went to 5s, then 4s, then 3s, then 2s. My dips, I simply took the total number. So 6s became 12 dips, 5s became 10 dips, 4s became 8 dips, and so on down through that. After 2 singles, it was 2 dips, and that's the workout done as far as that couplet's concerned. The final round, flutter kicks for 20, 1, 2, only counting the one leg, up, air squats for 20, and 3 times through. That's just a little bit of a finisher. And I must say, I'm actually feeling that a little bit in my adductors, because I also went with a wider stance. I went with a sumo stance. I had my mat here, and I went with a sumo stance rather than a slightly narrower and my feet forward. I turned my toes out because I did want to hit these guys because of something that I've got coming up towards the end of the week. So I want them to be working, but I don't want to smash them, although I can feel them. So that's the workout. Now, if you're doing this at home, you're going to replace the kettlebells easily with a ruck or a sandbag, okay? I can do ruck swings. I can hold my ruck here and I can walk with my ruck. I'm not putting it on my back and walking, it's too easy. My ruck needs to be carried. I can put my ruck down the side if I've only got one ruck, and I can walk on the one side. If I've got a ruck and a sandbag and they're roughly the same weight, I can walk. If they're slightly different rates, then it's a bit like a unilateral, so therefore one is slightly heavier than the other. 2 laps that way, switch them over, 2 laps the other way. That's your first couplet. You're coming onto here, then I can do my sandbag. I can do shoulder to overhead. Instead of doing 6 and 6, I can do 12. And then I can come on and I can do 12 dips. If I don't have these, I'm using the bench. If I don't have the bench, I'm using a box. If I don't have any of that because I'm at home, then we're going to find a step. So we're going to find a step, 2 steps high, that you're going to do them. If you can't find that, then you simply turn over and you do yourself some push-ups. But elbows in nice and close, and emphasizing the tricep for the work. Okay. The final one, all you simply need is the floor. Flutter kicks, they don't change. If you've got a lower back problem, stick the hands underneath the small of the back, a little bit onto the butt, and flutter. I'm not looking for toes pointed. If my toes are pointed, I'm going to use my hip flexors quite a fair bit. I prefer to pull my toes back. What that does, that forces me to engage my calf. It engages here, and therefore I'm going to find my hamstring is doing a little bit more work on that there, and I'm trying to push. I don't put my hands down here. I have my hands over my head holding onto the kettlebell, and I'm trying to push my belly button like I've got a string through here. I'm trying to push this into the floor, so therefore I'm using my hammies a little tiny bit in my flutter kicks, but I'm pushing this guy. This guy is also working for it. Air squats are air squats. If you can't get 20 or you're struggling, you come down your range of motion, but ideally I prefer you to go the full range of motion, because at the end of the day, if we need to sit in the toilet, we need to do a full range of motion. I don't know too many people who go, I can only squat like this and dump and do a number 2 this far off the seat. So if you can sit on the seat, you can do your air squat. Maybe you just slow them down. If that's the case, maybe you halve the number from 20 to 10. That's today's workout. A little bit of cardio. It actually did spike the heart rate. Picking heavier weights, obviously it will force you to learn to get in control of your techniques so you can move them a little bit quicker. As, like I said at the start, if you're struggling with that and you can't get heavy weights and you think it's going to take you way too long, simply reduce the weight. Perhaps you're going to set, you might carry 2 16s and swing a 12, or swing a 16 and carry 2 16s, and vice versa. But that's entirely up to you and where you are. That's it. My name is Dom. This is part of what I do, right? 30 minutes every single day, not a lot. Yes, I do walk and I do ruck during the day also as well too, because I've got 2 cattle dogs who, like kids, need their time out, and therefore that's what I also do. That's it. Please like, please subscribe, please tell a friend. Full description will be below once I go and edit the video post live. Cheers.